My name is Anthony, and as of January 2024, I have been awarded the official contract of channeling and representation within the Earth's collective by 6.99 Density Alpha Draconian, pureblood, ancient race named KALASK. As a child, I grew up in an extremely strong, religious, strict environment, Christian and Orthodox Christian environment, filled with extremely large amounts of rich culture and history. Definitely in an era of political, economic innovation back then in Eastern Europe. So strong and very rigid, Slavic environment, very proud environment. And we grew up colossally proud, confident, and hardworking. And we had strong principles embedded in us, and we still do to this day, and this is what we forward proudly to our children and so forth. And this cultural pride and this honor of our people and land and ancestors cannot be explained in a simple English, definitely not by sending you a link. A Google link, but definitely can be attributed to a long history of rich cultural tradition and patriotism, but also centuries of struggles, wars, battles, conflicts, and so forth, murders, and all these genocides. And this has made us develop very immense mental strength over the centuries. And over the years and generations, our nation and regions, I think, displayed a great deal of history of bravery and dignity in the face of fierce opposition, attacks, and all these things. So the strong family values came about, family values, family pride, ethics, patriotism, morals, all these things. And to this day, this is very crucial for us, at least where I come from, for the existence of our culture and our folklore, our values, our rights, our traditions from our past, and intergenerational support system and importance of family ties remain to this day extremely important part of our cultural heritage. And it's the very first thing that I will be teaching my future kids one day. I don't have presently kids in my life, but if I do, for sure, nieces, nephews, definitely. This is what we do. It's important in this crazy world we live in, a world of weakness. And definitely we don't give up our individuality, where we come from, our honor, our authenticity for some temptation. We're taught always to only care and worry about our character. It's the character that defines who we are, not anything else, materialistic and many other things, but they're taught to always work extremely difficult and hard, building a very strong and powerful character. That's the most important thing, definitely, with impeccable integrity. No one can have anything on you. Strong courage, definitely. That's something else that we've always been taught as children, strong courage, because I believe that courage comes from the soul, deep within the soul. And we believe to be proud people, proud of something. You need to achieve that something and earn it. And our ancestors achieved just that, much more than what I'm explaining. These things, it's in our hearts, it's in our cells, and it reflects a deep connection to our land and our culture and our upbringing and our home, the strength, the value of our people, and the endurance and the unwavering spirit of resilience and the willpower of our people in our surrounding regions and within our region throughout Eastern Europe, or the history of even Eastern Europe. This is clearly evident. And very ironically, these very same things is exactly what the Alpha Draconian family stand for. Obviously on a much larger scale, dimensional scale, absolutely yes, on a much extremely larger scale than our human systems, our human history and human environments. Yes, of course, humans have no point of reference to compare ourselves with higher ranking reptilian or draconian societies, I understand, but there's a lot of different commonalities to what I was just describing. And this is definitely something that I've seen KALASK display, and in their previous statements, of course, in their previous channelings here within the Earth's collective. Those who remember KALASK's previous transmissions, those that have copies of these transmissions, would definitely understand. Yeah, they were expressed to be a very strong type of military race, quite strict environment, rigid environment, with a whole lot of proudness, honor, patriotism, overprotection, protection, mental capabilities, of course, their resilience. Plain and simple, their pride for their land, pride for their color, pride for their symbol, pride for who they are. I can definitely relate confidently speaking to many of things that they said. It resonated with me from day one. And it reminded me always of my own childhood, in a smaller human sense, of course, and the environment that I grew up in, and watching these big, tough military soldiers, and our whole family's military. Every male is military, mandatory. You got to go to the army at age 18. And the socialist state and the authority and the harsh punishments and very strict laws, very strict religion, but definitely devotion to our families, devotion to our mothers, devotion to our fathers, brothers and sisters, and true friends. True friends are like family. Devotion to God and devotion to our soul, devotion to spirituality, devotion to the consciousness of the land. And these things are definitely sharpened and embedded and tattooed into our brains and hearts and minds and cells, and this almost like a cultural blade, capable of cutting through any armor or obstructions. We look at all of our history and we use that as fuel to get somewhere in life, to destroy all blockages in life. And this is why I always say trust must be unbreakable. And reptilian species stand for that. Unbreakable levels of trust. So I always believed in, and that's what's been proven to me. And when I act in front of them, when I speak in front of them, when I communicate with them, it's exactly the truth of my own thinking. This is how I express myself, and they absolutely understand. I expressed in my data processing, I expressed in my transfer of information, energy information, I explained them these things. And over the years, I have earned their respect in order to be called a trusted human. And often when I deal with reptilians or reptilian beings from certain races, I tell them about my ancestors. And then also in my human time, I think of my ancestors, grandparents, many generations before that. Authentic stories that I've been very grateful, very fortunate to be told. The rigid and harsh environments they went through. Jails, prison, concentration camps, gulags. And these are fascinating things to me because I'm proud of my history, but draconian beings, of course, understand they've gone through a million times worse harsh environments. They're the most oldest beings in this galaxy, hands down. This is a fact. They stand for colossal amount of power, mental power especially, an immense level of supreme and extraordinary level of power. Very recently, a trusted friend of mine sent me a link with about 80, maybe 90 sessions or so from the previous channelers, transmissions from Ortak, Vorkul, KALASK, all these beings channeling, and a lot of group sessions and so forth. So it was great to see the wonderfully asked questions, very prideful questions. And I wanted to see the energy behind the questions. I desired to see what was the energy behind each question, their curiosity, the inquiries and these things. I definitely wanted to see the emotion behind the questions and where did this question come from? Not necessarily to look into humans. I'm not even aware of any of who they are. I've never met any of them, but definitely there's a lot of great and phenomenal questions that KALASK was able to answer, and different draconian beings who came through. And I wanted to see their energy behind answering the questions and then compare those energies with how we speak today, how we experience each other today. And I was paying attention to such open-minded approach of many individuals, and I'm amazed by it. It's amazing that this open-minded approach with KALASK at that time, because they were very new to Earth. And definitely I look forward to speaking to a lot of these former clients, and they're more than free to stay in touch at any time. And as soon as I'm done my own calibration process throughout 24 and my attunement, I'll be looking forward to bringing many consciousnesses, human consciousnesses, to the Thuban collective. And by the way, I will not be forwarding, selling, redistributing any of these previous recordings. This is sent to me in trust. It'll stay here with trust, in the same confidence. This was never going to be redistributed or sold, so save yourself the time from emailing me at any time, but it's not going to happen. And even though these transmissions are not officially copyrighted material, there's no copyright infringement that would even occur, but I still have very strong principles of respect and professionalism towards any channeler, in this case the former channeler, and his life, of course, and his privacy and free will, and his professional work, of course, and as I would want my privacy and professional work respected also, as well as the privacy of all the clients at that time. So definitely these sessions will stay very private, and I got what I wanted. I wanted to see the energy, I wanted to see the emotion behind it, and also too which type of engagement did KALASK put forward with the humans. How did they answer the questions? And I definitely look forward to seeing how they're going to be answering questions coming up in the future through my body. And when it comes to KALASK themselves, I noticed back then with the transmissions, with these sessions, that they steered a conversation in the right direction, in the direction that was extremely useful and beneficial, of course. So I hope that the former clients, former people that spoke with KALASK definitely tuned into the KALASK's energy and not just use their human ears in order to hear the answer, but that they use their reptilian ears also, the reptilian brain, and that really they tuned into the energy of KALASK in order to understand the answer. And I noticed that they didn't just speak through the channel or answering questions, they exchanged energy. They gave a lot of energy into a lot of different answers. You can just tell, even heavy breathing and many different things of energy adjustment. And they helped a lot of humans, I believe, in interacting with them just to really stay grounded and to open-minded and to be logical and to be brave in life, and often giving advice about empowerment and different things. So this was phenomenal to see. Their manner of expression itself was, of course, extremely intense. The breathing intense, very bold, direct, yes, but they're draconians. They don't play golf for a living. They don't play volleyball for a living. They're warriors. It's how they work. It's how they are. That's how they breathe. But their energy adjustment also was noticeable. I noticed that many times. Sometimes they were more intense, sometimes less intense, sometimes with more passion, sometimes with less passion, but always with very strong conviction. And they definitely made sure that they expressed what they were saying very clearly, defined and explained, so that humans can understand the difference between their own system and our own system. So our own bodies and their bodies, but their society. Earth's history, I think, is one of the most important things that all humans can learn. To understand before our own existence what occurred, aside from all of the cosmic, galactic, interstellar, celestial topics. It's very important to understand Earth's realm, Earth's history. This is a realm we live in. We live in a reality, a video game. And understand who are the custodians of Earth. And in this physical reality, but also who are the non-physical, so non-physical consciousnesses that are around. Who are our neighbors, really? And I know that empowering humans is important. They've done that in previous sessions. KALASK was phenomenal in that, very, very fascinating with that. They gave great advice. But I think going forward, definitely, we need to find out who are the mastermind builders, previous civilizations, way before the flood. So who were all these beings? Where do they get the technology from? Who tutored them? Not just who built our pyramids, not just who built the ancient temples in the oceans, the one that we haven't even discovered yet, or in the Amazon we haven't even discovered yet, but like way before that. Who gave humans these teachings, these past civilizations? Who were they? So going way back to Göbekli Tepe or Corral or any Giza pyramid or these things, that's, I think, we need to find out. This human evolution, this human existence, going back past all the 4 floods, like that is the real juice. That's the most important thing, even before the quarantine was placed over Earth. India time, that region. So this development, I think, is priceless if we can obtain this information. And as far as this reality is concerned, I think there's significant amount of information being withheld from us humans, and especially by fake news and mainstream media and revised educational systems and radical fake religions. And they're never telling the truth to humans. Who are we and where did we come from and so forth. But I know that KALASK will, and they've always expressed strong levels of patience and respect to the humans when they spoke to humans. And for such a powerful race, for such a dangerous race, overwhelmingly massive race, because they're so big in population, and war definitely status and reputation in the galactic regions. I mean, for them to have this much patience is just incredible to see. I mean, they owe us nothing. I mean, it's not our right to talk to any ET group. So this is a prestigious opportunity. It's a privilege. And I noticed KALASK back then, they never forced their way onto humans. They never forced their ideologies onto any human. They just gave their perspectives. They never said, oh, it's our way or the highway, you're too stupid if you don't. No, never. They were so respectful. Of course, every time we speak with them, we give them or any other extraterrestrials our free will, our energy. They access our memories, our energy, our dream states, astral state, traumas. They monitor this during the transaction, or the transition is what I mean. So yeah, this is nothing new, and this is going to be the same in the future. Many reptilians I've found, from my experience, go to anger first. They go to rage first. They go to war first. But, which I don't agree with, but KALASK always showed tremendous level of calmness and patience, and they were always very respectful with speakers when these speakers would express themselves, even in an emotional way, emotionally charged way, expressing emotions, problems, traumas, fears. And sometimes KALASK, after explaining them how they should think and act and what the best approach is, they would empower them and give them strength and courage. And everyone walked away from these sessions and from transmissions wonderfully empowered. And this is exactly what KALASK wishes to do now, to not just give us wisdom and strength, but also empowerment. And this is exactly what they stand for, immense level of power, but also strength and wisdom. And all these things combined together when they speak hits the core of our souls, hits us real deep. And I knew of them, obviously. I think the whole world knew of them, and I didn't know really their perspective on many things because I never hired a previous channeler to connect me to KALASK. I didn't know them. I never spoke with them before. I never hired anyone to connect me to KALASK. They never spoken with me, but I knew they were a powerful race. And I knew they didn't come here in the astral state, their physical astral way, stand there in front of me and frighten me for the fun of it. They didn't do that, nor did they ask me, what kind of coffee do I like? I knew why they came. And they came here either because I pissed them off or to interview me about something. And they definitely come here to see my strengths, my opinions, my goals definitely in the channeling industry. We talked about that. And very quickly, it was verified information that they were looking for an ideal human candidate to be their official representative, official channeler on Earth in the future going forward. They had no time limits, they had no due dates, they had plenty of time. But they looked for that commitment, long-term commitment, long-term partnership. And they were seeking extremely trusted relationship with a human. They were looking at a few different folks, not too many, and each time they spoke, each sentence they stated came with intensity. That's just how they talk. It's normal for it's how they talk. I'm used to it now. Every time they visited, multiple times they came and just spoken with me. Their energy is so intense. It activated all the darkness within me, from cannibalism to death. Everything I've experienced in past lives, I even felt their death that they've experienced in the wars of their victims. And I spoke with respect. I spoke truthfully as I would today, as I did yesterday, as I will tomorrow, with full transparency. And never one time have they tried to trick me, to manipulate me, to mock me. Never. They showed tremendous level of respect. And they said pretty much, do you know who we are? You know why we're here? Okay, so why should we work with you type of thing? So it was, I'm summarizing it down, but it was something of that sort. So I definitely wanted to do my part in displaying to them my strongest characteristics and competencies that audience or internet doesn't even know. I wanted to talk to them about my character, my identity, my upbringing, things I believe in, my strengths, my truly life story, a childhood story, teenager story, young man story. I come from a bodyguard industry. I wanted to get into all of these conversations and tell them about my life going back to many years. I'm past my mid-40s now. So I told them even places I lived in, where I immigrated from, where we live here in Canada, what I do for a living, who are my employees, and all these things, and my background, and full life story, truly how I even became an entrepreneur. Because I definitely believe that they deserve to know. I still say the same thing. They are great trusted friends, and of course they deserve to know. I hide nothing from them. And I knew they were dangerous. I knew they were quite menacing. They're quite more scary than any picture on the internet, including the picture by Vashta, which is a fascinating picture, by the way. She's a greatly talented artist, but they're quite more menacing, definitely. Absolutely. And they brought some friends with them, like I said in my previous statements. Demon God came, and Morkul came. What's the common element about these two? Black skin, horned wings, all these things. And So I learned to trust them. And I had previous interactions for a few years with Alpha Draconian beings. 39 beings I met from 9 different families. Again, I was never harmed. So I knew to trust Draconians. I knew how to dance with them. I knew how to speak with them. I knew definitely how to tiptoe around things you want to say and do. And I was part of a Demon Gaz training program in the astral state for over a year, which I talked about in the previous video. Is extremely serious subject, extremely serious topic. So I understood the engagement with them, the rules of engagement, and I understood that they're powerful, ruthless warriors. That's what they are. And ultimately, I learned firsthand how to talk to them, how to build relationships with them and their families. And often, I remember in the days of me spending a lot of time with Alpha Draconian beings, is I met their children and then their hybrids. Their hybrids do a lot of dirty work, a lot of solid soldier type of work. And I understood through hard work, I guess, how to trust these 500, 800, 1,200 pound beings. Their wings are as wide as my sofa. Their words, their energy, I cannot describe it. It's just extremely dark and intense. There's a code of honor. They trust you, they approve of you, they will never harm you. And I've never been harmed. And I knew they can very easily kill me just by a tiny little glimpse, just a tiny little visit to the astral state, a simple projection of like 1% of their mental power. And it's all over, it's done, never waking up, simple. But I trusted them anyway. I took a risk and I showed them the respect. I showed them that I can be trusted. And KALASK themselves are the same, no different. I always show them they can trust me. And I don't see them as some strangers, they're trusted friends. And this is the relationship that I see with them. This is a relationship they see with us. And by us, I mean our team, my higher self, 4th density, 5th density, 6th density layer. I'm the human layer. And this whole KALASK eats people, I heard some of those statements. That's not true. KALASK is a breatharian. They don't eat, they don't drink. So it's a complete lie that's lingering around the internet. I'll debate anybody on this topic. I know how they act. I know how they sustain their bodies. I know how tall they are. I know how much weight they have. I know their ages. I understand much more that's ever been covered in the book before. I remember once, the short story that I will share is in end of 2023. I experienced one of the most fascinating things in the astral state, 5th density physical state, so quite physical. I experienced a war, witnessed a war. I witnessed the reptilian war, so non-draconian races. 2 races, so one race I knew really well, one I didn't. They were strangers to me, and I was brought there to see the war, how these wars are fought. And I come from military backgrounds, so it was perfect. I enjoyed every millisecond of it. And these were 5th density races, war races, and the battle was very quick, very, very brutal, very quick. And my 5th density astral layer, so 5th density soul layer body is very physical, as I'm physical, as everyone's soul is physical. And the 5th density physical layer of mine witnessed this thing. I was protected, of course, but I can truthfully say that seeing what I saw was way too brutal, way too gore, way too ruthless, and way too shocking for a human mind. We're not used to that level of battles. We're used to guns and stuff, tanks and stuff, grenades and stuff. But it was fascinating to see the technology, to see just how they fight their wars. And understanding the brutality behind this war. I'm now comparing this to what I saw, how these reptilians can be so dangerous and so brutal. And then I compare that to the warriors of KALASK, so they're even more brutal at 6.9 density. Now I can just imagine, wild imagination, I can imagine the annihilation and complete and total destruction of an enemy that KALASK would execute, that KALASK would do. And I'm even aware of the Orient Wars. Who was the official winner of the Orient War? One of the 2 draconian races, yeah, KALASK. And I understand quite a bit about their previous history. Now, what I was comparing is that these reptilians, these draconians, are so powerful in their wars. So for such an immensely powerful war race, such as KALASK, for them to shut off all of that, to suspend all of that, to be neutral, calm, and respectful to us humans without intensity,
without darkness, without any of that malevolence, without any of those war tactics, without any of the psionic powers. And by psionic powers, I mean they literally can like direct their own energy with their consciousness, as what we would say third eye. So through their consciousness towards a target planet ship and absolutely turn it into dust, completely destroy it. So they turn all of that off. They turn all of that off and be kind enough to answer humans' questions very politely, very patiently, very calmly. So 3D related questions. I mean, to me, this is fascinating. I'm puzzled the fact they're able to turn off all of that in density and answer some of our boring questions. So I'd say, in my opinion, humans who had a pleasure of speaking to KALASK and the packs are absolutely lucky. Absolutely lucky. Not a lot of 6.9 density related wisdom lingering around in these spiritual or channeling communities. This level of profound wisdom, I mean, 6.99 density, these guys are almost at the end of their incarnation. They just refuse to die. Their patience level, to me, again, the whole warrior thing, the army, the military, yes, absolutely, they're so powerful, but the patient level is the most impressive thing I've seen in them. And seeing them now, and even just how they talk to me and train me and tutor me and tell me things like do this and do that, and this is where you're not right, and this is where you're wrong, and this is where we want you to revise, and we'll meet you here. Like, your patience level are just absolutely through the roof. They're astonishing. And the great thing too, they never judge me, but most importantly, they never judged humans before, never threatened humans, never mocked humans, never made fun of humans. Even though they know that humans have racist and radical opinions of draconians, alpha draconians, constellation, Thuban, all of them. Even though they know most of humans fear them and hate them and judge them, they still never judged us. They still never hated us. They know we have so many removals of resistances to go through. It'll take 4 lifetimes, 5 lifetimes. And they still put aside all that and still gave us a chance to answer our questions. And I think this was much, much more giving than I ever thought KALASK ever did for human race. Like, I couldn't believe some of these transmissions, and I'm very glad that they did that. And also that humans understand the truth about our own history, our society compared to their society, our own Earth's history, true history that of course we cannot find in any Google search engine or religions or heavily revised indoctrination programs called schools. But KALASK was always direct, definitely calculated, very particular with their expressions, as they understood that humans are not as intelligent as them. They're undeveloped, they're not as advanced, and that humans have definitely a significant potential, but humans also have significant fears and resistances, blacknesses, programmings, conditionings, and they're quite sensitive and triggered easily and all these things, and offended very easily, of course, especially in these days. So they understood that humans had much, much more to learn, but in that case, at least, they were very patient with us and always answered these questions, and that was great for me to see. And I'm very new to all these transmissions, so definitely it was great to see that. And as far as them disliking certain humans, yeah, of course they dislike humans. They dislike plenty of humans, particularly egomaniacs, arrogance, and when it comes to ignorance and pretentiousness and division on Earth, racism, all these things. Because draconian beings are not so divided. They're absolutely perfectly united, and they have no arrogance. They have no ignorance as humans do. So it was great to see their level of patience. And in my own voyage through intricate tapestry of 3D matrix reality, this realm that we live in, I was very blessed to find channeling and to learn a very safe, effective, and direct, extremely intense way to channel, trance channel, and enable a lot of different internal dialogue systems or internal technologies. And this channeling, certainly part of my life. It's been part of my life for a long time, but it will be part of my life for much, much longer. And it has changed my life definitely significantly, going back to before I even met KALASK, and overall becoming a professional channeler, better said, reptilian channeler. I channel reptilians mainly. And now KALASK, of course, being their channeler, for me personally, of course, is a monumental moment, really, of my own spiritual path, something I'm extremely proud of. And there are a few additional reptilian and draconian races that I do desire to meet, that I definitely desire to interact with and so forth. And
I'm sure KALASK will be bringing them forward soon, or eventually. And I will be creating a timeline for this definitely to occur. But for now, I'm quite content where I'm at, where everything's at, and it's already extremely busy energetically. And channeling itself, first and foremost, I define as introduction. Truly, that's all it is. It's an introduction to data transfer, introduction for foreign and unknown or known energy that is external, that you allow to run through you for the benefit of understanding, to the benefit of growing, expanding, and obtaining data. And I've always seen authentic channeling. So authentic channeling as one of the greatest gifts, definitely, that a human can enable within themselves. And it's a powerful ability that a human can develop proudly, carrying through life, through months and weeks and years, and definitely bettering their life and making everything extremely great, empowering, and exciting, of course. And this profound wisdom that can be obtained from our own galactic parts, as well as the advice that they give us for everyday life, to us, to our family, to our friends. And this is just priceless, and obviously words can't put this in a description, but receiving this wisdom, receiving this information from different densities and realities and realms, of course, it's just absolutely extraordinarily amazing. And it takes a lot of rigorous practices, of course, and this is something that I push, of course, in my own channeling course. I have one of most like rigorous courses in the channeling industry. It's almost 2 months long. We talk every week, and I push my clients to do proper, safe, but also effective, efficient channeling. And we go through the process together, really, and this is what I've always been an advocate for, is to push the channeling, absolutely push that energy through and obtain it and integrate it, but safely, so that the client can call up, really, any entity that he desires that belongs under his oversoul, that's safe, that is trusted, and so forth. And I do recommend definitely to everyone to channel reptilians, to channel draconians, to channel any extraterrestrials, not be racist towards what they look like, not be judgmental, stop believing in division, but all of these beings have a right to exist as we do. And being in 3D here in this world, this reality, of course we can benefit from a lot of their advice. And over the years I've spoken to the fractal consciousness on my own, so higher fractal, so 4th, 5th, 6th density, and they've even said to me, they said, dear soul, dear love, and just so that you know, a lot of work we've done, a lot of work that you're doing, a lot of work that you've done behind the scenes, like a lot of healing, a lot of different upgrading you're doing, and a lot of different beings we're bringing forward and cheering for you, and many different entities that work with you, especially in the astral state, 4th density state, and they've invested so much in you, and you've invested so much of your own human time, and you definitely are proven to us you desire to grow, and psychologically, mentally, but there's no going back. I said, you're right, there is no going back. The boat has sailed. Who wants to be in a 3D type of matrix, living through life, crawling through life, really? When there's all these different planetary systems, locations, and star systems, constellations, dimensionally speaking, that we can obtain so much wisdom from. Certainly when it comes to channeling, and I've received a lot of this different information from higher fractal consciousness, which of course is me, and I am my soul, and my soul is me, but the most amount of powerful advice I've ever received was from draconian beings and from reptilian beings. So I can't put a word to it. I mean, English doesn't have these words that I can assess and assign and put a label on and say, oh, it was amazing, it was great. No, it actually changes you. It changes your system, your thinking, your awareness. It changes your observation skills, surveillance skills, the way you speak, the way you act. It absolutely changes, not to mention access into 4th density. And the more understanding I'm obtaining, I'm understanding the empire quite differently now. And I understand why they dislike humans and our own weaknesses and failures and arrogance and all these things. But KALASK has stated we do see that, but also we do hope that the communication will bring forward, will be very beneficial for humans. And humans can pretty much smarten up and grow up.
What do humans really need right now? You tell me. You're asking me this question. I ask you, what do humans really need right now? Do we need to be hugged more? Do we need to be pat on the head and told that everything's going to be fine as long as we hug more trees and saying love light uncontrollably? Like a bird repeating the same statement that the owner taught them? No. I think people need to get their shit together, truly, and remove and release a lot of resistances that are still blocking their own connection, that are truly blocking their own growth. They need to heal. They need to work on a lot of different shadow work. They need to work on a lot of different inner child work. They need to perfect grounding. Why is everyone so radically obsessed with 5D when we're clearly haven't even perfected grounding yet? At most, highly spiritual people, at most, are 4D entities, 4D consciousness. That's all we are. I'm a 4 density consciousness, living in 3D matrix world. Sure, this is a realm, I get it. None of us are 5D, nor is 5D happening next week. Next Thursday, 5D. Next Thursday, 5D, but Friday is what? Free medbits going to be handed out? Mass landings and disclosure? Okay. None of that stuff's going to happen. There's a lot of illusions within the industry, but what do humans truly need? In my perspective, I was able to already share this in one word with KALASK members, with KALASK's council. I was able to tell them my perspective and what I think, and they listened very carefully, they listened very respectfully. And I said empowerment. Humans need empowerment. We don't need to be hugged more. We have family members, we have wives and husbands, boyfriends and girlfriends and pets. We have everything from music to art to travel to nature. We have enough love already. We know how to love. What humans need to do is to love unconditionally without any conditions. But humans have enough love. Humans otherwise need strength. So what I would desire to see is strength, sovereignty, bravery, courage, independence, absolute unbreakable mental minds, unbreakable mental strength, unbreakable mental power. Everyone should have a mindset of a Marine, of a soldier. I know plenty of soldiers, I know plenty of law enforcement officers who are very strong in their own mind. But no, what the humans are doing, they're doing in this industry, they're just escaping reality. And as they're escaping reality, unfortunately, I say this, is that they're blaming reptilians for all of the Earth's problems. They're blaming draconians for all the Earth's problems. Draco doesn't live here. They're too busy and too high-dimensional race or group of races to even give a shit what's happening on Earth. Now, of course, they have a very tight grip over Earth, yes. But there's other custodians across Earth, ranging from insectoids to greys to the Earth reptilians, the true bosses of this realm, that for the draconians to even care. So I think people need to get off draconians' penises and dicks and just start minding their own business. Stop blaming draconians for everything. Stop blaming draconians every time there's a war, every time interest rates go up. What's next? Every time it rains and there's traffic, we're going to blame reptilians and draconians. I mean, this is silly. It's becoming too silly. It's becoming ridiculous. It's becoming completely lucid. And I think this is nonsense. This needs to stop. Humans need to take care of their own responsibilities. Stop blaming others. And I'm noticing too that within the spiritual industry, if we look at all of the channelers, whether they're new or whether they're old or veterans, ranging from Yaels, ranging from humanoids to Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans, aquatics and felines, and any other insectoids, of course, and mantis, and any other race. What I'm noticing too in the past few years, there's much more interest and much more curiosity about draconian beings. Because the Earth is going through a shift, we all understand that. Birds in the sky even understand that. Insects understand that. We all know that. But what the Earth is requiring, what humans are requiring deep down when it comes to it, they're requiring stronger energies. What Earth needs is stronger energies. This world we live in is not meant for empaths. This world we live in is not meant for niceness. It's meant for strength. And the world as we know today, 2024, this is not what it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And I believe with the world scandals and staged events and psyops and wars and many things, there's going to be worse and worse of energies happening right here within the Earth's collective. What humanity needs is strength. What humanity needs is empowerment. Now, whether you get that empowerment by going to the church, whether you get that by talking to an extraterrestrial, the point is we need empowerment. And as a channeler, of course, back in the day, I had that option. I remember being just about maybe 500 feet from here, hiking, right in this very area. And I remember thinking to myself, I said, you know what, in 2024, here are my plans. And I'm notorious for that, to create timelines, to create visions, to create my own options, to create and shape my own reality. And I knew eventually I would be paired up with draconians in a contract format. I just didn't know when, and I didn't know who. And this time it's KALASK, and I'm very glad. But I remember thinking those terms when I become a draconian channeler. When I become an Alpha Draconian channeler, the very first thing I'm going to ask of this group, of these beings, as friends, as brothers, as family, I'm going to say to them, please, multiple times from now on, let's record, let's channel, let's educate humans on empowerment. Let's educate humans to be strong. Let's educate humans to be completely unmoved by any movable force, by any movable event. And this is exactly the first thing I've told KALASK during our negotiations, somewhere in the vicinity of end of the summer of 23. They said, well, in your perspective, what do you think that humans are interested in? I said, in my perspective, the one thing humans need, the one thing humans are very interested in is empowerment. Humans desire to be strong. Humans can be strong. They're much more powerful than they think they are. But of course, that lingers around in our industry all the time. Humans are more powerful. Humans are more powerful. Blah, 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 blah. What is the true power that humans have? That is locked within us, going back to Anunnaki days. For a long time, I've been trying to get this secret, and that secret was explained to me by who? Was it humanoids? No. Was it felines? No. No, it was explained to me by reptilians. And the true power lays within us, in the solar plex area, absolutely. And some of these powerful beings can unlock that for us. Those keys can be unlocked by our friends that we call reptilians, that we call draconians. But of course, this is not something that is discussed within the spiritual industry, because the spiritual industry has been designed and set up to immediately brainwash anyone entering the industry to hate something you know nothing about. It is a privilege, certainly, to speak to extraterrestrials. It's not some right that we have. It's a prestigious opportunity. So this is how I see it. It's how I treat it. And I noticed back then, KALASK before never really forced their own mindset onto humans. They never forced their own opinion radically or anything. No, they expressed their opinion, and they never did it in any arrogant way. They accessed each person's energy with the person's permission, with their free will. That's how it works, even with me. And then the person would ask the questions and all these things. So this is something, of course, that we're going to follow the very same schedule of events and schedule of things, how they really happen. But when it comes to the emotions and all these things and the state of emotions, and this is also going to be accessed by the humans. That's something they need to know. The KALASK is going to want to know all your emotions. They're going to know your fears. They're going to know your traumas. They're going to know your secrets. They're going to know everything from sexuality to personal things, ideologies. Something going forward that I think everyone should be quite aware of, because they'll have access to your energy. So all the emotionally charged opinions and expressions and inner emotions, of course. But before, what we've seen KALASK, when they looked at that in a human, they were able to congratulate the human or show them courage, even when the human was very vulnerable. And these conversations in these previous transmissions always ended with the person walking away feeling strong, walking away crying, walking away being emotional, just because their wisdom and their advice definitely hits our hearts and hits the core of ourselves, and that's our heart. The only bits of information they would not share back then, and even now with my conversations with them, is anything that has to do with secrets or military, especially military, especially technologies, weaponry, military, army, this kind of stuff. And Empire really is the same way, of course. And I don't really blame them. And I think that personal secrets should stay secrets. My secrets will always stay my secrets. I don't tell it even to my personal friends. So why should any extraterrestrial race tell us humans any of their secrets? Secrets are meant to stay secret for a reason, absolutely. That's my opinion. And I look forward to seeing more and more interactions with my own audience, from the Canadian Awareness Podcast audience to my own YouTube channel and many other social media sites, from Facebook to Instagram, and do desire to see their perspective. What do they think of KALASK's return? Truly, like, what do you think of Alpha Draconian being so deeply involved now with humans, like never before? And I know back with previous transmissions, audience would ask a question, and then they would hope that KALASK would answer it a certain way. But that's something that everyone definitely needs to understand. KALASK is not going to sugarcoat anything. They don't care to sugarcoat it. They don't care if it offends us. They don't care. They're going to say it exactly how it is. And that's one of the things I definitely appreciate about them. They're never boring. They're extremely strategic, but extremely honest, to the point. Simple as don't ask questions you don't want to hear the answers to. And everyone has their, of course, free will to ask any question that they desire, just like before. Sure, fine, I understand that. We have our free will, all this stuff. Then some of the questions in the past were absolutely fascinating. They were absolutely amazing and very well thought of. And I hope that this level of initiative continues. And I remember some questions were something in relation to a person asking KALASK about the mainstream media organizations and the secret group organizations behind fake news media and these staged events. Who's creating all of this? Or draconian influence on the samurai culture. That was a great question. Distinctions between love, compassion, sympathy, and empathy as well, and how KALASK really views these concepts from their perspective. Or what happens if KALASK dies and they go into a non-physical state. So what would happen? What would happen with their guidance system? Where's the guidance system located? These are some of the questions. Or the KALASK connection to what we call source or God. Or what's their opinion on AI, artificial intelligence? Or what's the difference between draconian beings and the royalty lines? So above Sikar, above Vortak, above KALASK. Or how does even the Empire deal with betrayal? How does the Empire deal with that? I know that answer, but those were really good questions. Also, there were questions about shape-shifting, whether it's real, whether it's not real, or who are the dragons?
One of the stories that I can certainly share in relation to my own contract with KALASK is this story that has to do with this very city where we're in right now, which is the Sedona in Arizona, and one of my favorite cities to travel to attend retreats, to connect to a lot of wonderful, great energies that are not really in the tourist areas. They're more off-site, particularly near top of mountains and creeks and waters, a lot of elemental energy, a lot of great Sasquatch energy, a lot of great earth reptilian energy and insectoid energy. And I've been coming here for many years, been coming here now for about 5-6 years, established some friendships and so forth, but I always wanted to come to the retreats here and expos here and trade shows here that cater to the spiritual community, but I wanted to come here as a channeler to educate the channel, to teach, to tutor, and to truly forward my own knowledge and the wisdom that I've received from my own reptilian and draconian counterparts. And I've met plenty of draconian beings now, which I said earlier, 39 draconian and draconian hybrid beings from 9 different families. And every one of them you learn something. And I certainly did. And I always told them, I said, I'm a sponge for information. I'm not here to compete, but I'm here to learn from you, the greatest and most powerful beings in the galaxy. And I've taken that knowledge very proudly over the years, and my videos speak volumes certainly for that, my social media contact. But one of the things I wanted to do is come to Sedona and attend these retreats and attend these expos. And it was a perfect opportunity, I think, universally for me to be awarded the KALASK contract in the January of 24, and then right away be part of 4 different expos and trade shows in the first quarter of 24. And with LA Conscience Expo, which just happened last month in February, and another event that I went to in Orlando, Florida prior to that, just after New Year's Eve. Now we are in Sedona in Arizona for the 2024 Ascension Sedona Retreat. And it's been so wonderful to see such great spiritual people, wonderful souls, great individuals with such an open mind, with no judgment, with no disrespect, without any programming or conditioning about draconian beings. So of course, as an extremely proudful and very, very, very strong speaker on reptilian manners and draconian manners, I've taken a great pride to educate my fellow humans as a proud human. What is KALASK? Who is KALASK? Where is KALASK from? What is Thuban? What is 6.9 density in the first place? And the response has been phenomenal. And I'm extremely excited to be here, part of these Sedona retreats. We have another one this week. Next week we're in Florida for New Life Expo. And I guess I can say that I'm very honored to be part of this community. I'm very honored to be KALASK's channeler, and I'm very honored to travel and have this opportunity to travel that is allowed, that is permitted by KALASK. And it's great to see the welcoming that I've just experienced in the past few days here by the audience and by the exhibitors and by the visitors in general, by different speakers, different authors, in how much they welcome the draconian and reptilian advice. And I think this is, again, proven fact. It's just time after time I'm noticing the same thing. Individuals in the spiritual community, in the channeling community, in the ufology community, whether they're 20 or they're 80 years old, they're just sick and tired of the same gibberish that's been truly
repeated over and over and over the past 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, how long are humans going to be going to these expos and trade shows and listen to people talk about a bunch of nonsense just because they share the same last name with the United States president from the 60s, or because they say they have some insiders in the Antarctica, or because they say there's some specialty worthy human with 22 strained DNA enabled, or because they say they got insiders in Antarctica and South Pole and North Pole, and all this nonsense, this egomaniacs that are truly running around the industry like a bunch of uncontrolled rodents eating anything and everything. They are the pure responsible reason of why humans aren't growing in the spiritual community. They're maintaining, they're not growing. I know individuals that are my clients and now they're my friends and they're my admins, they're my trusted friends today. They've been to my house, I've been to their house, ranging from Canada, United States, to Bulgaria, to Dubai. These individuals, when we originally met maybe a few years back, they definitely were in this very same position, and now they're out there channeling themselves. They're not out there teaching courses themselves. They're understanding dimensionally many different topics that I never possibly even thought that they would understand, because they were able to utilize high grade, high quality, high caliber knowledge and wisdom. And by wisdom, I mean interstellar wisdom, galactic, cosmic, and different wisdoms that come from the universe, of course, from our own galactic counterparts, but they're all reptilian or draconian in nature. What wisdom can anyone learn from obtaining some piece of information saying that 5D Ascension's happening next Thursday? Or being given a free med bed? Or let me guess, the white hats are clearing out those underground tunnels of those evil Draco. Draconians aren't even present on Earth. And the Earth reptilians, the true custodians of this Earth's realm, no one's clearing them out. This is their planet. Us humans are just visitors here. So I see so much misinformation bundled together with disinformation, bundled together with myths, bundled together with fear-mongering, bundled together with propaganda, lingering around the spiritual expo, spiritual industry year after year after year. And even when I went through my own awakening, I remember coming here to South Florida to expos, going to Indian Wells, Joshua Tree Park, LA, to a lot of these Contact in the Desert, LA Conscious Expo, phenomenal expos, well-organized expos. The same speakers then are talking about the very same thing as they're talking about this year now in 2024. And of course, to get the audience to clap, what do? They hit the audience with the same terminology: anti-reptilian, anti-Draco, anti-Draconian, and all of these other manners, including the SSP mentally ill mafia too, who talk about their own fairy tales. So it is great to see, it is wonderful to see, it is music to my ear, and I'm very proud to be part of this entire South of Florida or Floridian type of spiritual community member, to see audience that have definitely an open mind for true wisdom. True six-dimensional wisdom, or to be very specific with the Empire itself, Draconis itself, okay, 6.999 density wisdom. It is great to see 20-year-olds to 50-year-olds to 70-year-olds to 80-year-olds truly wanting to know, what does a reptilian look like? What do their tails look like? The teeth, the skin? What does their psionic powers do? What does their mental power do? And of course, I take great pleasure in explaining a lot of these things based on my own authentic experiences. What I'd like to see in the industry, regardless if KALASK is now back or not, what I'd like to see is a lot of different star seeds coming together. A desire to see truly reptilian star seeds, reptilian hybrid star seeds, draconian star seeds, draconian hybrid star seeds coming together and not be so divided. This is one of the things that really turns off a lot of ETs from talking to us in the first place. This is one of the things definitely KALASK dislikes. Humans are so divided. They're not united, and we need to come together, at least us, true authentic reptilian or draconian channelers, or contactees, or star seeds, or incarnated humans that come from these powerful regions, such as the Draco constellation, or Alpha Draconis, or the Thuban, or other locations across that constellation. Why are we so divided? There's a lot of enemies out there against us, a lot of speakers against us, which is irrelevant. Which is completely irrelevant. I'm personally never moved by any negative comment. It's irrelevant. Thank you for allowing me to leave in your head rent-free, is my perspective. But my advice, which I would definitely wish to see, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, I desire to see all of those individuals that have already received channeled messages from KALASK
through the former official channeler in Germany, for all of them to come together, for all of the contactees and channelers to truly come together, to be able to work together, to learn from one another, to spend more time in traveling to trade shows and expos and retreats, to socialize with other channelers, to become stronger channelers, not just some Facebook group owners who think they channel. Reptilian starseeds, draconian starseeds must come together. We must have solitude, we must have unity, we must have trust, we must have brotherhood and sisterhood. We must be strong in bonds, we must be strong in our words, and our integrities must be absolutely impeccable. This is one of the ways that actual draconian beings and high-ranking reptilian beings will even take a look at us. I mean, by the time I would even explain the rigorous things I had to do in the past 3-4 years to go through and sacrifice so much of my own human time, human short incarnation time and energy and weekends of practices and practices of practices and continuous practices to reach and be accepted across different reptilian societies, including Alpha Draconian societies, such as by Demon Ga, such as by KALASK. It would take me hours to explain, it would take days to explain. I say this humbly and respectfully. Those that know me know what I mean. I said, why not represent KALASK publicly? Not just hiding at home behind a laptop. Why not represent the Alpha Draconis, Alpha Draconian term, name, meaning, power, reputation across pretty much worldwide? Why not go to Japan and attend those expos? Why not go to London or Manchester in England and attend those expos? Why not go to Arizona, to Florida, to Latin America? Why not go across Eastern Europe, which I've already done for 2 years now? And they've agreed and they said, please go on. So I've gone on and explained it. I said, I believe that with my business acumen, and I've been in business for a long time in Canada, channeling is not my day job. And I said, with that experience, with that level of experience already I have in different industries, but also going to a lot of different trade shows, why don't we create a partnership, KALASK, so that we together can work as one, as unity, as one team, the strongest channeling team, and we'll be able to go to different trade shows. I will go there and represent your name. I will go there and represent proudly your symbol, your race, your eyes, your skin color, the entire Alpha Draconis if necessary, because no one's going to be in my way. And we went back and forth and we explained to each other what's important to them and what's important to me, and how to behave and what to say and what not to say and how to conduct yourself. And we were matching with desires, we were matching with ideas. And it was very quickly understood by me and understood by them that this was a perfect match, a perfect unity of extraordinarily reputable and powerful Alpha Draconian ancient race, pure blood race, with a human like myself that has a desire, but also the courage and bravery to go throughout the world and represent this race. I remember at one of the expos in January, and another one again in February, we were at our booths and representing and doing things and hanging out and socializing and making the connections and making the bonds with a lot of different wonderful spiritual people, the visitors and the guests, and a lot of individuals. They came, they're very serious, they knew their information. There's a lot of terminology that the real draconian starseeds that are in contact with their counterparts, authentic names of races, authentic ancient names of races, even greetings they were aware of. So it's very easy to verify. It's very easy to verify things. I get that all the time, like, oh, I'm this starseed, I'm that starseed. Yeah, from what place in the Draco? Oh, I don't know. Okay. You probably are not, but all right. And some individuals come and they're very straight up. They're like, yeah, this is the race, this is the planetary system, here's the density, here's the population, here's the color of the eyes, so they know their stuff. And I take great pleasure, and always will take great pleasure forming bonds with these wonderful star seeds, reptilian star seed, draconian star seed, draconian hybrid star seeds. And that's how we need to really be. We need to be more like reptilians. We need to be more like draconians, more united, not so divided. Humans are experts at being divided. Humans are experts at pointing a finger at one another, saying, I'm better than you, and so forth. Humans are experts at lies and deception. Humans are experts, arrogant egomaniacs. I mean, of course, the human race they're experts at that. That's why I dislike most humans. And I would never wish to channel any race, any extraterrestrial race, unless we have, and I have, and I say we as a team, we have an unbreakable levels of trust. Multiple visits, multiple conversations, multiple conversations, visits, building the rapport, building the trust, building the corner pillars of that trust, building everything, but with full transparency. with proven acts, not just words. And being in this current incarnation, being in this position as a reptilian channeler and KALASK channeler, they have done just that. They've proven their truth, they've proven their intent, they've proven what they desired to do with me and coming back to the Earth's collective. They've always been truthful. And they understood my dimensional limitations, they understood all of our human dimensional limitations, but they continue to tutor and they continue to teach day by day, week by week. Hence, I respect KALASK and their counsel on multiple levels for multiple variety of different reasons. And by respect, I really mean professional and brotherly level of respect. I never saw, nor do I see, nor will I ever see KALASK or any other reptilian being for some weird sexual fantasy, romance, any of these things. I don't have daddy issues, I got a big family, I'm pretty fine. No, I'm just talking about warrior type of brotherly feeling. As a strong human, mentally or spiritually and psychologically, I always said to them, look, I don't need your love, I don't need you to teach me how to love. I got plenty of big family members, plenty pets, great life, happy, drug-free, alcohol-free. Just teach me how to be strong. Teach me how to be more psychologically strong, mentally strong. Teach me your famous term, reptilian mental warfare. Teach me, and I will learn. I'll be the sponge for the information. And they understood. They looked at my intellectual and emotional maturity levels and they said, yeah, we can definitely work with this human. They understood my desire for reptilian consciousness, and this is how eventually many things started. But noticing KALASK, how they speak with me, with which tone, with which energy behind the statement, how they analyze, how they assess things, what I do, how I do it. They match everything I say to the energy. They match my actions with my words, with the energy. They verify everything. And eventually I formed my own conclusion in the very early stages of getting to know KALASK that first and foremost, no lies are tolerated. Secondly, they're immensely powerful beings, way more than what anyone I think can possibly understand from previous channeling statements, because they never talked about their power. They're experts at surveillance, intelligence, counter-surveillance, analyzation, psychology, mental capabilities, and the strongest level of psychology. They are the ultimate experts at psychology. It's beyond impressive, simply put. It's just astonishing, and I'm learning this every day, just how quick, sharp, dangerous, powerful, strong they are. And I remember as a kid sitting around the tables where many old men, wise men, family, uncles, I had tons of uncles on both sides of the family, all came around and talked business, talked about trading and selling and talked cultural things. And I just sat there like a kid. Instead of going out there playing with kids, I sat there and listened to them, and I wanted more advice. And somehow I always gravitated towards that wisdom. And this is why I started reading in life, reading. I read hundreds and hundreds of books, like literally hundreds of books. I've filmed even 6 videos on my YouTube channel in relation to books called Top Books, this and that, and inspiring others to read. It's because I always believe in learning. What's the point of life? What's the point of incarnation? To manipulate energy, figure out energy, use energy, and not worry about problems and drama. So definitely the philosophy aspect of KALASK I definitely admire, and I'm very, very impressed by it. And whenever I meet someone too in life, I don't, even with my business partners or lawyers, I say, I don't care for their resume. I don't care for, what's their philosophy like? I don't care for your resume or your shitty little certificate from a college or university. That's not real life. What's their philosophy like? Definitely philosophy, and KALASK definitely are ultimate philosophers. And I remember one of the KALASK members that I speak with, my representative, specifically said to me in these same words, he goes, we are the ultimate philosophers. And I remember I giggled back. And I said, yeah, I can see that. I remember one of the conversations I had in September, October of 23 with my main representative at KALASK. And he said, we were talking about ages and we were talking about life. And I said, no, I'm in my mid 40s or going into late 40s. I said, this is the age of my parents. This is sort of, we're talking about ages. And even though, of course, there's no such thing as time, there's no such thing as calendar. I said, what is your age and how old are you? How tall are you? How many pounds? How do you sustain yourself? What color eyes? What color blood? All these things. And we talked about the 2 present members of KALASK that were there present. So there was 2 council members present. There were over 1 million years each. And he clearly stated to me, and he's like, by the way, this is my age and all these things.
Goes, but we have 2 council members present now. They're over 1 million years each. And I lost air. I was numb. I felt completely numb, physically, emotionally, psychically, telepathically numb, paused and suspended, paralyzed and numb. I felt so small. I felt like that little dot under a microscope. I felt the most tiniest, little minuscule type of existence in the galaxy. We are 40, 50, 60, 70 years of age. These guys are 1 million. So our professors, designers, teachers, religious teachers, actors, presidents, they know nothing. We know nothing. And we're made this way not to remember anything. And we still have keys within us that are never going to be activated unless a human has a sponsorship and direct instructions and assistance how to activate the keys, particularly draconian keys, particularly reptilian keys. So us knowing that there is a Giza pyramid and there's a Göbekli Tepe in Turkey or Coral and all these sites, no, we know nothing. We're absolute babies. We are speechless babies when it comes to extraterrestrials, extra dimensionals, interdimensionals. And I still remember, like, several days after I was told this 1 million year comment, I sat in my backyard. I'm sitting in my backyard now. I sat in my backyard. I hang out here, and I was like, this tree I'm looking at here is probably, I don't know, 20 years old. That tree over there is 10 years old. These guys are 1 million years of age, and we have the audacity to judge them because of their teeth, because of their tails. This is absolutely pathetic and ridiculous at the same time, the level of judgment humans have towards extraterrestrials, particularly reptilian beings. And there's a reptilian within all of us. There's reptilian eyes within all of us. That's a very deep subject, and I actually mean that literally. That's another secret too. But when it comes to the overall KALASKs present on Earth, I've always seen them very respectful. I've always seen them carefully analyzing all of our energy faster than humans can even speak. Before I can even say anything, these guys already know the entire statement of what I'm going to say. They know my energy. And 100%, they are seeking absolute immaculate levels of truth. So be very, very mindful when connecting to KALASK or any other draconian being. Make sure it's without fear, without any mental illnesses. They won't work with humans with mental illnesses. This I do know too.
I was asked recently in an interview in California, how do you describe a draconian? How do you describe a KALASK? It was an unexpected question. The person wanted to know right away. I said, first of all, how much time do you got? How do you describe a draconian? How do you describe their societies? It's not something you can answer while standing there shooting the shit, over a coffee or over a few minutes. I said, how much time you got? He goes, got 5 minutes. I said, okay, you need to add like 3 zeros to that. I would need 5,000 minutes, 5,000 words to even begin to explain the complexity, the mass scale, the ramifications, the size of this empire, the brutality, power, dominance, the immense level of strong military power these beings are known for in the galaxy, in the universe, not just in our solar system. That's not what I mean. I mean the universe, our universe. First of all, it's not possible to explain anything within 5, 10, 50 minutes or 20 words or 20 sentences. It's not like that. This is Alpha Draconian Empire is a collective of alpha type of entities, very strong entities. These are pure blood, ancient reptilians. We can't define them in a few sentences or a few even videos. Not to mention hundreds and hundreds of their hybrid races. And then their races belonging to the hybrids. So terminologies, names, English, even if we use the boring English, even if we use the characteristics, the competencies, the strengths, or just statements to display something, I'd say brutality, philosophical dominance, noble characters, commanding, prevailing, ruling, governing, authority, influential, vigorous, robust. I'd definitely say strict, sharp, rigid, but very strict, very deadly, very lethal, very dangerous, ancient, the oldest, very old, menacing, treacherous, razor precise, fatal, ferocious. They're just vicious, barbarous, and ruthless. Truthful. They're savages, but they're truthful. Brilliance, intelligence, intellect. I mean, by far the highest and strongest percentages of wisdom, hands down, amongst any other species within our universe. They're the oldest beings in the universe. It's a fact. The military power and dominance, I mean, obviously we don't need to talk about that. I mean, the birds in the sky know that. Everyone in our solar system knows that. Everyone in the galaxy knows that. Absolutely. It's not something that most humans would even understand or comprehend. And it took me a while to truly understand, even from the dimensional limitations. Not self-imposed limitations, but dimensional limitations, to understand just the tight grip the draconian beings have over moons and star systems and planets and so forth. And in fact, Alpha Draconian beings are the oldest alive beings in this galaxy and in this universe. This is one of the largest facts. People can deny it all they want, but absolutely true channelings. Anyone can verify through, everyone can verify this. This is not a secret, this is just a fact. These beings are 6.99 density. They're at the end of the incarnation. They can die tomorrow if they want it. They just choose not to. And it's not something that people can comprehend. Humans have no point of reference. We have some Hollywood movies, some movies, talk about draconians like Jupiter ascending and so forth, but we don't understand shit about the Empire. These beings are born into a society that's extremely ruthless and strict. And they will die with honor. They won't care to die to defend their empire, their families. And I think Sakaar, we look at Sakaar, and Sakaar, of course, is always misrepresented on the internet. I've had an honor to meet one member of a real Sakaar in summer of 2022. And I think it's an experience I definitely don't talk about on camera, but it's embedded in me still. I remember his energy like it was yesterday. It was shocking, intense, so intense, beyond intense that my English words, or I'm trilingual, even if I combined all three languages, I cannot describe. I wouldn't know how to describe. I luckily was, of course, not harmed, but he understood my existing affiliation with reptilian races, and he understood my desire to work with draconians. And I'll never forget his statement. He made one statement at a very short distance, and he said, any form of respect here must be earned by our race and our families, and all humans are the same, and that's worthless until you prove your worth to us. Then he took off. So how do you describe the top of the military in the empire in 5 to 10 words or 5 minutes? You can't. You need 5 hours, 5 days of continuous speaking to properly even begin to explain who is this race and why do they sit on top of the military ranks of all other draconian or draconian hybrid ranks. And by the way, Sakaar is not their proper spelling or pronunciation. Internet says so, but it's not. There's another completely different name. Even if we look at all of the empires we've had as humans, Roman Empire, Greek Empire, Persian, Assyria, Babylonia, Chera Dynasty, Venetian Republic, Lavo Kingdom, Genos Republic, what about the Bulgarian Empire, Ottoman Empire, Russian Empire, from Armenian Empire to Portuguese Empire, Shang Dynasty, Spartans, what about the Spartan Empire to Kingdom of England? Or even Chinese, the Xa Dynasty, Tikal, Spanish Empire, Kingdom of Georgia, Benin to Austrian to Russian to Johor Empire. It doesn't matter. We can combine all of the philosophers from these regions. We can combine all the books and writings available to humans or not available to humans. We cannot in any way begin to understand the entirety and full spectrum of Alpha Draconis, Alpha Draconian Empire, and their alliances, because humanity, as humans, even with the knowledge of previous civilizations, of course not taught in schools, we have no point of reference. And it's unfortunate too, and I say this definitely, that draconian beings, Draconian Empire, they have a very strict rules of non-engagement with humans. Very little, tiny little minuscule conversation is allowed, with certain humans of course, but majority of it is not. And we've never heard about this, we've never seen about this. I mean, what do we know about the other galaxies and star systems? From what, Hollywood movies? From what NASA tells us? It's ridiculous. Archons and archonic energy are interesting concepts, definitely. What is an archon? What is archonic energy? But these things were explained to me very, very patiently over the years. But especially recently by KALASK, they explained it. And definitely the YouTube information cannot come nowhere near what these beings were saying. It's not possible to understand the true meaning of universal archonic energy, or what is archonic, or what is an archon, who are the archons, So yeah, these things by watching Facebook or YouTube, and yeah, it's not possible to assess properly these materials because they're generally created by religious slaves, religiously programmed people, so slaves of their own religious prison systems, or uneducated amateurs in the 5D new spiritual age, so the new age cults. Humans want to judge archonic energy by recording shitty YouTube videos, yet humans haven't figured out their own energy. Humans want to go to 5D, yet they haven't even perfected grounding yet. But in ancient Greece, this even goes back. There's some teachings there. It actually means a ruler. And there's other definitions after that called the builders of the physical universe. But internet really goes all out to dumb down someone. It says that archons are like satanic soldiers, sons of Satan, working for the prince of Satan and kingdom of Satan, blah, blah, blah. Always throwing in that ridiculous and pathetic, worthless word named Satan. I've asked KALASK, who's Satan? I've asked Theta, who's Satan? I've asked them who's archonic energy. And quickly, very, very quickly, very quickly I understood that all of the information on the internet is completely wrong. The list of describing these matters, we can go on for days of recording videos and we still will be just getting to the beginning parts of archonic topics. I've asked them the other day, I said, who are the archons? Who do you meditate to? Who do you pray to? Who do you sing to? Who do you chant to? How do you sustain your body? If you're not drinking and eating, which I know you're not, how do you sustain your body? You're massive. We don't have bodybuilders this size here on Earth. Who do you worship? Who do you see as a higher power? Who do you see as a God? Who do you see as a source? What's source energy to you? What's your explanation of oneness? What's your explanation of opposite of oneness? Do you meditate to opposite of oneness? Like, what do you meditate to? So yeah, they're very, very forthcoming and very fully transparent with a lot of different great education, and I'm sure they'll answer the same questions through my body with humans when we start doing public channeling, but definitely they answered everything as what I needed to know, and I trust their unedited answers. Of course I trust their unedited raw answers because there's no filtering. That's what I appreciate the most. There's no filtering. And I can definitely say, and I swear, most people are quite misinformed on these topics of what is archonic energy. We're lied to on the internet, definitely. Draconian or KALASK's answers or the draconian mindset compared to religious propaganda on Earth are like two different worlds apart. It's like two different dimensions speaking information, and we are definitely dimensionally so far apart. And a lot of these scary subjects, I will admit, of course, demonic, demon, evil, jinn, all these Satan things, humans are quite petrified of. But why? That's because of their own programming within them. That's why. Humans are generally extremely scared of anything that's dark, anything in any way, anything that's dark. Yep, run away from it. Don't attract that demon. What demon? Don't attract those evil jinns and archons and lucifers and satans and shit. So this is unfortunately such primitive talk that I always hear, but no one can even have a normal debate or normal discussion about what is darkness. What is archonic energy? Why is everyone so afraid of the darkness? We all have darkness within us, humans. Every member of every religion, I believe, almost every member or most members have been programmed to fear this darkness. Just like they've been programmed to fear this red-skinned man with horns named Satan, sitting in some chair in some fire burning hell. Religious propaganda, nonsense, misinformation. That's what all that is, particularly Satan, particularly that word. But anyway, the archonic energy, just like satanic energy or Satan or demons, are some of the most misunderstood subjects. Some of the most frightening subjects for a lot of humans, but they're misunderstood subjects in both spiritual and religious communities. And speaking of demons, I'll say this from a neutral perspective humbly. I've had a chance to meet the real demons. A real race of demons that we know as demons who walked the earth a long time ago, who are pure blood, ancient reptilians within the Alpha Draconis. Quite frightening, quite scary, dark skin, black eyes, yes. I've met them before KALASK. I've met their hybrids before KALASK, the demon god race. They certainly are probably, aside from Oracle, one of the most menacing things I've ever seen. Tall horns, the whole thing. They speak with no humans, they don't channel any humans, they don't connect with anyone in the astral state for the fun of it. It's not like that. I don't suggest anyone even mentioning that name in their meditations. But they've never harmed me. I respect that. I'm actually going to suggest to KALASK that in the 2025, let's bring this race forward at least one time so that they can channel and they can hear, speak on my cameras, they can speak on truly who they are. Tell humans the truth on who you are. And as much as they can say that, we can only comprehend so much, but even with my own dimensional limitations and my knowledge and intelligence and intellect, I understood them, I understood their races and their families, and again I say, the knowledge that I have, I can say that us humans are misunderstanding many of these demonic subjects, many of these energies, these archons, this Satan. We are absolutely lied to by our religions, televisions, propaganda, and internet. Absolutely, particularly who's Satan, who's demon, jinn, and where do they come from and who they are or what they appear like. We're absolutely lied to, and this is a large misunderstanding. I mean, in no way I'm promoting Satanism. I'm not promoting demonology, whatever the terminology. I don't play with that stuff. I don't worship any of that nonsense. But what I'm saying is religious lies. We're told Noah's Ark story, lie. Hell, lie. Satan, lie. Adam and Eve having sex to make humanity, lie. Eve eating the apple, complete lie. And Jesus walking on water, a massive lie. Him being crucified, even bigger lie. So all these ridiculous lies and mistranslations from ancient texts or stolen events from ancient texts, combination of these revisions, this is pure responsibility why humans are not told the truth about different ET races, but also about reptilians, draconians, including who are the real demons and so forth. And these are very, very private, very complex, convoluted type of topics. This isn't meant for a camera. This is meant for more of an in-person conversation. But the archonic energy, of course, does exist. This is fact. This is not some conspiracy theory. Absolutely it does. Archonic energy is quite real, quite unknown to humans, quite real. And no amount of calling Archangel Michael or Uriel or God source energy is going to defend you against these energies. Absolutely not. This is absolutely impossible. The earth here, we live in a very peaceful place, I think. I understand that we have wars, bombings, we have genocide such as now going on in Gaza and so forth, but big wars, large wars, catastrophes, floods, tornadoes, staged events, many different things, but pretty much earth is a peaceful place. We are here to experience love, give love, feel love, joy, compassion, children, family, travel, music, art, many things. So this is not really a chaotic place to live in. This is not an archonic place to live in. But I often hear it. They say, oh, the evil Draco is responsible for this war, for this problem on Earth. What do you think? That draconian beings are responsible every time Earth has a problem? No. Draconian beings got their own shit to worry about. They got their own enemies to worry about. But always the Archon comment, Archon this and Satan that. And these ridiculous religious programmings definitely need to be uninstalled if people want to really expand their consciousness properly and accurately. And stop with accusations. You can't blame someone every time Earth has a problem. Earth has its own problems. Yeah, we're creating majority of our problems. We're the largest demon to ourselves. We're the largest malevolent energy to ourselves. Humans are their own worst enemies. It's not reptilians, it's not insectoids, it's not any other race. Humans are programmed to point a finger. Oh, they're experts at that. And internet, of course, does that help? Well, no. I mean, internet is the largest world's engine of misinformation, censored information, fake news, fake history, revised history, censorship, and so forth. Scripted scripts promoted on the first page of every search engine, yeah. But in relation to these matters, in the future, I'm going to let KALASK speak, particularly the expertise they have on the archonic topics. That's not my specialty, that's their specialty. So anyone can ask them directly what is archonic energy, what is chaotic energy, and who are the archons. And I teach these things sometimes. There's sometimes to certain individuals, but the information I do know, on deeper information on the manners, the business, the wars, the acumen, the confidential pieces of information, such as some military wars that I'm aware of, and senates and wars and priestesses, alliances, population numbers of certain draconian races, yeah, especially that one, yeah. I never disclose that. I keep that very private. It was told to me in privacy over the years, of course. And if KALASK in the future, through my body, wishes to speak on these matters, absolutely, they're more than welcome to speak about whatever. We have an agreement. There's no editing in any of the videos, and I don't want to edit anything. They can say whatever they wish, absolutely. And when it comes to the empire, I can definitely say the Draconian Empire, this topic is not taught well on Earth. It's completely misrepresented, and it's also misunderstood. But this is about to change now with the return of KALASK and whichever other race to families they wish to bring forward, which they're more than welcome to do. And no one will be in their way, just as no one's going to be in my way. And they're already here. And KALASK will assist, answering any questions. They're more than welcome. I talk to them regularly, weekly, multiple times a week. They're quite excited to eventually connect to certain humans and so forth, and return properly and be represented properly, much more loudly this time. But anyone seeking personal sessions with KALASK through my body, that's fine. I'm very open to that. The website kalask.ca will feature the calendar eventually, but they are to be respected in the highest degree possible. To a very high maturity level, emotional maturity level also. Absolutely. Yeah, we're not going to tolerate nonsense. And those that desire to have more of a tailored one-on-one course or line of courses I offer with personal learning experience that can significantly alter and enhance their lives and state of consciousness, definitely, including learning how to channel. As I have one of the most complex how to channel courses, which is 2 months long. I highly recommend it to those that are very serious about channeling. Yeah, those individuals certainly can always contact me. I'm very open-minded to that, but you have to have commitment and not just want to ask draconian questions. We have to have commitment, absolutely strong levels of commitment, no expectations, no demands, just expectancies, desire, passion, fire, will, and all the things that'll take you to the channeling, that'll make you break through and so forth. But anything that has to do with these matters, I'm more than willing to assist any human on their spiritual life journey. And also too, anyone desiring coaching and gaining knowledge that I've spent a considerable amount of years, an extraordinarily amount of time and years, multiple years in gathering and gaining, yeah, they'll definitely need to step up and make a decision to invest in their time, to invest their incarnation, to learn what I've learned, and I'll forward the knowledge. And truly, I'll give them what I know, to help them, assist them, whether it's meditations, practices, tricks and tips that I'm aware of, but techniques and visualizations which are priceless. No one else has them in the industry, and I've been told these things in confidence, and I use them myself actually. So true mastery and self-mastery isn't mimicked, from the sidelines. It's carved from the grid of personal struggles, dedications, consistency, trims, and a lot of different hard work and commitment. So if you have commitment, I'll work with those kind of humans, of course. And I think everyone really wants to channel these days, but nobody wants to do the work. They just want to do a channel. Nobody wants to do the work. Nobody wants to heal. Nobody wants to heal anything. So weak excuses. These weak men create weak excuses. People in general chase discipline, adversities where growth happens. And I respect these type of people. I really align with these type of people. And especially in channeling, as telepathy isn't like a virtual gift some extraterrestrial sends you. It's not some that randomly lands in your lap, or in the astral state. Just like my official contract with KALASK didn't just come here randomly by some coincidence, by some mistake. No, absolutely not. Becoming a channeler, I highly advise. It's changed my life, 180 degrees. It's changed my life for the better. I highly advise it to everybody else. Dimensionally, yes, of course, we have some limitations, but certain things can be unlocked. Certain things that religions don't teach us about. Yeah, there's a lot of different secrets we're not told these days, and I know some of these secrets, including the keys. How to unlock the keys. Activation of my own darkness within me and allowing KALASK's energy or their own darkness to flow through me effectively, efficiently is something I needed to go through. I obviously went through, and I still go through today, this morning, tomorrow, every day. It's part of my own everyday life, which I agree with, of course, with my free will and enabling draconian keys, unlocking within me. Something I've always looked forward to, something I've always focused on, truly, to unlock the power within us humans that is locked within us. And Many of these things I don't really see in a lot of channelers today, and this is what separates me from a lot of different folks out there that are channeling or think they're channeling, but with strong commitment, with unbreakable spirit, unmovable spirit, and unconquerable spirit type of drive that I had, passion and fire. I always said to myself, you got to have this level of passion and fire, and I did it. I definitely was able to embrace and analyze and accept, definitely accept without any judgment, any fears, this dark energy. And this darkness within me, of course, that was brought up from my own past life deaths. So these things I experienced, from cannibalism to rapes to tortures to wars and death across a lot of different wars and across a lot of different human incarnations I needed to experience, feel, and deal with and not run away from, and all these things. So the overall darkness in me, this was a change. This was a learning experience for me, definitely something I evolved from, something I learned. And these things aren't really explained the best in a video format or in a text format. This is a long conversation. These are extremely long conversations. Not a perfect time and place for these kind of videos, but not to mention changes a person I needed to go through, and I still did go through. So personal changes, characteristics, and sexual drive, and observation skills and awareness. I mean, all these things quadrupled, or if not tripled or quadrupled. Unforeseen levels of sharpness or razor sharpness, precision that I started to feel and experience when I started to hang out with these beings. All these things definitely bled down and trickled down into my human life, and I've never felt these kind of things before, dealing with such dark energies. But my calmness also grew stronger. It taught me how to be calm, and I always believed that calmness is power. And additionally, what I would say sort of complements that or has to do with that, I found out firsthand of such intense darkness that KALASK holds, because when I'm with them, I feel their darkness, and I have to hold that energy. I have to make sure I'm able to hold that energy. So multiple times a week we speak, we hang out, and in the astral state we're always almost together quite frequently, and I have to hold that energy. And by the way, when I say I meet KALASK, I don't get some synchronicity numbers from them. No, I stand with them. I stand right in front of them, co-create with them, and their hybrids and their family members, not in some dream state. No. There's a particular density layer. And I've met 18 KALASK members, pure blood members now as of 2024. I've had an honor to meet these 18 powerful individuals and experience their immense level of darkness and their power. And I had to embrace that and integrate it, not run away, not be shy, not be hesitant, no resistances. So a combination of my own darkness, of my own self, and as well as their own, all together, it creates a sensation, feeling that humans are not really used to. They're not used to experiencing, not at all. But I had experience with reptilians and draconians prior to KALASK. I was able to kind of move faster. These things, of course, are very sensitive subjects, very deep subjects. I don't speak about them on camera, and to a degree where I'm explaining things and demonstrating things. But I can be found at a lot of different expos and trade shows, and I speaking engagements, and I can explain things in person better. And in relation to their darkness, in relation to their intensity, an interesting story I can share is that I've met on 3 separate occasions in 2023 one of the most strongest, if not the strongest, pure blood draconian race with the most intense level of energy, and that's Morkul. And they came to visit me as per KALASK on some confidential manners, and 3 different times, 3 different occasions, and I remember each and every time. I still remember it now. I still feel it in my skin at this very moment as I sit on this chair. I'm in my own house, comfortable here, but I still feel that shocking energy, that overwhelming level of darkness that they brought with them. Such darkness, I don't understand how to explain it even in English. I'm trilingual and I still can't explain it. And this was the actual physical pure blood members of Morkul, and my regards to them, and I thanked them for the experience, and it was an honor to meet them. But yeah, it was very shocking to embrace that and not run away from it, but I never run away from it. So I said, great, it's a challenge, and I did great. I did what I needed to do. But in relation to energies, I mean, generally in energies, when it comes to channeling, we're trading data, we're downloading data, unknown energy, and so forth. But integrating KALASK is something that definitely I knew from day one I needed to do. They don't talk to me in some synchronicities where they leave like a 333 on a piece of paper or some receipt I get from the store or on a license plate back of a car. No, this isn't an amateur hour.
These beings not only enter my own human body, but their energy integrates in mine, and when I meditate and I breathe, they literally growl right back. So daily I'm integrated with KALASK, even as I speak these words. And meaning, in a way, to explain it further. If I drive my car, if I have sex with someone, if I cook, if I travel, if I get angry, if any emotions arise, if I yell or if I sing, or if I cry or not, if I get excited, if I feel joy or adrenaline, these beings are inside of my chakras, they're inside of my energy. They can tap in and monitor at any time that they desire, at any part of the day. They of course respect my privacy, but they're integrated. That's what makes me different than other channelers. When I channel, they're integrated in me effectively. There's specific instructions, of course, that I was given to follow, but what I'm saying is I don't call them and say, do you think you can come by and connect to me? I don't guess who I talk to. I know who I talk to. I know exactly what they look like. I know what they smell like, what they feel like, how tall they are, eyes, skin, texture, breathing, everything. And that's the thing with such level of darkness. I'll wake up here out of the meditation or channeling and go through my life and see family members and I'm feeling love and light, but with them I feel darkness. And this is that part of us, is we're tugged or pulled in both directions, like a war. Pulling war is done inside of every human every day, multiple times per day. With small decisions, big decisions, you're being pulled into making a decision about light or making a decision about dark. Question comes when you lose your temper, when you lose and snap. Do you control your darkness? Can you control your darkness? Can you control your rage? Calmness is definitely power, and calmness is one of my largest strengths. I needed to learn to be calm with all these integrated, powerful energies. So perfecting both dark and light is the ultimate key in life. It's what I absolutely advise. The most valuable lesson in our incarnation is duality. Neutrality too, but duality. I preach duality all the time. I always will preach duality. I mean, there's really no other way to kind of move forward, when it comes to our consciousness. And people that are just in the love-light aspect, they're weak. No offense, but they're weak. They run away from any aspects of darkness. They're scared of everything and anything that's dark, even the darkened room, even the night outside. They're scared. And some of them in the industry that I noticed that preach these things are quite submissive and passive. Yeah, but overall, they're quite weak. I personally embrace the darkness as I embrace love. Why? When I need to, I embrace love. When I need to, I embrace darkness. When I need to, I give conditional love or unconditional love or somewhere in between. Every day, every moment of my life, I always look at options. How much love am I going to give to something here, or how much darkness am I going to give to something here? I'm always ready for total chaos, but I'm also ready for any kind of compassion and love and peace. With patience and discipline, I'm always calm, but I'm ready for anything and everything. Always moving in focus and calmness, but calmness is power. But definitely, there's a saying back home we have. It says, in the translation, it says, when you're traveling and local language is violence, make sure you're fluent. But when local language is love, then give your all without any conditions or any expectations or demands, just give it. And I'm the same. I enjoy walking the neutrality line. Another way to describe dark energy is archonic energy, as KALASK told me, is to see it as chaos. See it as chaotic energy. Archonic chaos is randomness that approaches at any given time, and things are there that can go very, very wrong, very bad, very fast. The amount of possibilities and probabilities that are seen in any given moment are the representation of how to best work within yourself in case of these chaotic times within the galaxy and within the universe, and the whole preaching and explanation they have. But trying to see everything at once is definitely something. I remember them explaining this. So you got to see everything at once at the same time. Good, bad, in adrenaline and in peace. Like, that's chaos. That's the mark of true strength. That's chaotic energy. Embrace it all. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it and experience it. Deception is not something that's even tolerable by draconian races, draconian hybrid races, any of the draconian societies. None of their alliances, in no way manipulation, lies, gimmicks, falsehoods, trickery, all the shit that humans do to one another that's standard here on Earth. Yeah, no, none of these things are tolerated. They never will be tolerated. Not even once it's possible to lie to these beings.
These are very extremely strict beings. They don't believe in coincidences, they don't believe in second chances, they don't believe in assessments, even if there's a small red flags of deception. Absolutely not possible to lie to these beings. KALASK is the same. In fact, one of the very first sentences they ever told me, directly they said, just so that you know, we're going to speak with full transparency from now on all matters before we even say anything. And we suggest you do the same, human. I said, okay, great. It aligns exactly with how I'm thinking. Not to mention, which is another secret to draconian beings, is that they're already equipped with internal mechanism of this detecting deception. So humans would refer to this as detecting deception by verbal analysis. Intelligence officers know what I mean. Law enforcement officers know what I mean. So it's not possible to lie to these beings. It's not possible. It's absolutely impossible to lie to them. I'm personally allergic to all lies. Nauseates me. All deception, all betrayal, all lies. But it was perfect to align with what they're saying. Great, no lies, excellent. Truth only. Deception is the same as betrayal, in my opinion. It's still a shitty action. And KALASK knew very, very well my own take on fakeness, lies, deception, and this is one of the reasons why I've been told him. I said, listen, going forward, just so you know, after I receive my contract with you, which was back in January 24, I said, I'm going to denounce all of the fake draconian channelers, denounce all the fake draconian hybrid speakers, every one of them. They said, fine, yeah, absolutely, go ahead. Then we had a conversation about who are their humans, presently incarnated right now on Earth, who is connected to KALASK. Who are these humans who are directly connected or indirectly connected today? So humans who are either absolutely aware that they talk to the real, authentic KALASK race, or that they haven't figured it out yet. So we exchange some names, locations, identifications of these humans. Who are they? So I'm quite aware of this very small number of these humans, which I'm not going to disclose ever. Of course, it's confidential. Lies and fakeness is never really tolerated by any of these beings, whether it's a Yael in 4th density or a 6.9 draconian. It's not tolerable. To give an example, which I can share, it's not a problem. So in 2023, when KALASK started to investigate and monitor me to see if I'm the right fit for them, and I went through this massive, huge, 1-year-long monitoring phase. And I remember they were looking for compatibility, red flags, issues, problems, lies, any lie, any sign of warning of non-compatibility, but also any sign of warnings of lies. And aside from that, multiple year history of my life, including any mental health, any pharma pills, any drugs, any alcohol, anything, all personal aspects, all business, all sexual history, full business history, full travel history, percentage of rage, percentage of deception, percentage of fakeness, all personal conflicts, even arguing with a neighbor, everything they wanted to know. Social media too, absolutely, they're quite aware of my posts, everything, no stones were left unturned. And I remember speaking to my higher self, telepathically, I said, why such deep? They said, yeah, they don't tolerate any bullshit. KALASK tolerates no lies. So they understood I had a lot of excitement, I had definitely worth and qualifications to even speak with them. And they understood my connection with Theta Tauri race and other draconian hybrid races from my own past, but still they looked for every other red flag. Any fractal of a red flag. I remember being explained this in detail by my higher self. So 5th density layer and 6th density layer, independent layers that I talked to, they said, yeah, KALASK is looking for any form of deception. The red flags to them truly even meant that if I wasn't standing strong in my mind and heart, if I'm not strong enough in life, or if I tend to be weak, or any human who tends to be weak, human minds to be weak, as they say. Human minds are weak. They look for that kind of stuff. Humans who are submissive, passive, humans who lie, who are addicted to fakeness, pretentiousness, or who use any form of deception, directly or indirectly, they absolutely don't tolerate that. So the truth is, I never lied to them. I never pretended or showed ignorance that I am demanding something. No, I had absolutely no expectations, but only expectancies and no demands, and absolutely I welcomed KALASK then as I welcome them now, as I will welcome them tomorrow. And this is why I've earned the respect by these beings. And this is also why I said many times in the past, and I'll always say, it's not possible to lie to these beings, particularly none of these war races. It's not possible. They're scouts, they're investigators, all these beings are hybrid races and hybrids, and then hybrids, and so forth. They're gonna find out within what we would call one day, yeah, they're gonna find out within a second our energy. What's within the energy, within the layers humans are not even aware of. And when it comes to Draconians, honestly, whether you love them, you hate them, you're scared of them, you're confused who they are, it doesn't matter. What's embedded inside of Draconian, Alpha Draconian beings is absolute flawless level of integrity and truth. You cannot lie to them, and they don't lie to one another. They appreciate each other, themselves, much, much more than us humans appreciate each other, or even us humans within our family members. Humans have no point of reference to understand the level of honor these beings show to one another. And aside from deception, in my own assessment of Draconian beings, and I've talked to plenty of them by now, they work with humans. They do not work with humans that have mental illnesses. Any mental illnesses, any form of mental illnesses, they do not work with humans. They absolutely do not work with the bipolars and schizophrenias and psychosis, or you think you're being harassed by 80 people in the astral state or dream state. No. Humans need to clean that shit up before even think to approach a Draconian. I mean, it's having darkness and rage and sadness and things like this as far as emotions and stages in life, yeah, that's fine. But mentally ill individuals do not need to apply, do not need to even think that a Draconian would ever consider to speak with you. And if you think that they are, no, you're being hijacked. And honor itself, that word, I hear it all the time on the internet. Honor, 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 honor. These are shitty characters. Honor is just a word to most humans, that's all. To make themselves feel worthy. But to Draconian beings, this is a standard way of everyday life from the moment that they're created or hatched. The point is, it's within them, it's within their genetics. So in the future, anyone that contacts my team and my websites, regardless of where I'm going to be, whichever year, if I find out you've been an anti-Draconian or anti-reptilian channeler or speaker, or particularly pretending to be a Draconian incarnate, as they call themselves, Draconian incarnate or Draconian, yeah, you're going to be blacklisted. No forms of fakeness or deception will be tolerated as far as my business is concerned, regardless how much money is paid. Money's not my God, money is irrelevant, and I cannot be bought. But one thing to keep in mind, one thing to definitely be mindful of is, remember, email accounts, online profiles and pictures can be faked, yes, but your energy signature cannot be faked. It's raw, it's as is, it's exposed. Just like mine is. We have a saying back home, actually, where I'm from, back in Europe, but in translation it sounds, in lies there are short legs. So technically it means that, your lies are gonna run out and hiding behind fake emails and accounts and stolen pictures and AI generated photographs and all these things, yeah. That can be fake, but remember, energy signature is raw. It's uncovered and visible 24 hours per day, regardless of your geographical location. So let's give KALASK the strongest level of respect that they deserve, and they rightfully do deserve, of course. And let's not forget the true hierarchy placement of humans versus Draconians or reptilians in this universe. And we should be extremely grateful that they're even desiring to talk to us again. And let's remove ignorance and arrogance when speaking to this prestigious race, and let's give them the proper energy of appreciation and respect and gratitude, as it's a privilege to talk to any high-ranking reptilian or Draconian in my strong perspective. And considering the fact they owe us nothing, it's a prestigious opportunity to talk to them. It's not some human right. This isn't a driver's license you're demanding from your government or your ministry. No, these are beings that don't even have any business here. They desire to help us and get our perspective, learn from us, and we learn from them. So let's utilize their philosophy, alternative perspective, psychology, of course, and many different things. They can teach us about the universe and the galaxy, but also about our own biology, our own lives, our own thought process, our own cellular system, and so forth. And let's remove the programming and conditioning, particularly radical religion programming and so forth. But I'm really observing their perspectives as we've been talking constantly. We continuously speak regularly, and they're not just some opinions that they give me. They're justified statements with proof, with evidence, with deep history of a subject that they're trying to teach or tutor or inform. And they're strictly highly intelligent perspectives.
which definitely now allowed me to expand my own horizons, erase what I've known, and then relearning it from the beginning, truly. So from more of a higher multidimensional celestial perspective or view. And I see this earth, this reality we live in, this world we live in as a video game. That's all it is. But it's filled with a lot of programming, a lot of bullshit, a lot of conditioning, propaganda, diluted information, and it's filled with a lot of irrelevant information, disinformation, censorship, misinformation, lies. The vision is necessary. Definitely vision and clarity are very necessary for all of us to go forward. And I think without any vision, without clarity, you're just a slave to those tyrants who already run these systems, organizations in power, who already have figured out a very flawless, strong levels of both clarity and vision. And without vision, without clarity, without a calculated and clear destination, I think that success and leadership are just worthless journeys in never-ending circles. It's like having a broken record play over and over. I've always been advised, and I do advise my own friends and clients, to be like water. That was given to me, that analogy one day. Be like water, be like Niagara Falls, getting into any crack in any object slowly, either complementing it or destroying it. So I advise everyone to be like water when it comes to energy flow and integration of energy or channeling. Assertive and focused and sharp, precise, yes, calculated, yeah, but also flexible to adjust to any unforeseen situation, never allowing impatience, never allowing any kind of arrogance to get in the way, but be very rigid, very firm, hard, very strong, definitely, but ability to adjust to any unforeseen situation. Very fast and have adaptability, for example, versus impatience, have sharpness versus arrogance. Be like water, nice and slow, getting into anywhere you want to go, free flowing. Just like our energy must be free flowing, just like our energy must be dark and light. Duality, absolutely duality. So practicing duality is one of the largest keys, big keys, but not only duality, I think also neutrality, as well as being free of any resistance, free of any programming, not resisting any part of ourselves, because that means that you're resisting part of yourself, yeah, but that can have serious consequences in the spiritual path, but also in the mental and emotional well-being. So when any internal conflict or anxiety or panic or fear arises, well, you're going to have some issues, internal issues, miscommunications to deal with. And running away from it, that's not a proper way of dealing with it. Ignoring it, dealing with it is the proper way, definitely. Embracing it, recognizes. I mean, there's an old saying back home we have, it says, where there's uncomfortability or where there's fear, yeah, there's an assignment. So seeking darkness and seeking light at the same time and embracing it and healing traumas and fixing our own internal problems is the key. So is embracing duality, of course. Removal and flushing of all resistances, that's another key. Blockages, removal of blockages, yes, traumas, fears, phobias, digging deep into the unknown layers and unconscious layers within all humans. Very, very important. I teach these things in my channeling course. This is why it's 2 months long. We talk about third eye blackness. We talk about removals of trauma, removal of any demands and expectations of many different things. But such as achieving successful channeling is, of course, one also a large goal in the spiritual community that I advise many different people to achieve more harmonious and balanced spiritual life. You don't need internet anymore. You just connect to your guides, you connect to your higher fractals or your galactic team, and you ask them the questions. And it's very, very important that humans do not skip any 3D responsibilities or 4D responsibilities when it comes to learning how to channel. You're just going to get hijacked. There's plenty of hijacking going around there. A lot of the people in the industry are hijacked. So running away from these tasks in this incarnation or skipping steps, nope, I don't advise that. Escaping reality by seeking some external saviors to land on your back, to land your backyard, some non-existing federations or any other saviors or religions are proposing. Yeah, this is just lunacy. That's just lunacy. That's ridiculous. Just like it is constantly being addicted to CE5s, doing CE5s once or twice a week, 3 times a week, awaiting for some savior to pop right here in this backyard. Yeah, that's not going to happen either. But I think the priority for a human 3D life is responsibilities, the tasks and responsibilities we came here to do them, to fix them, to learn from our mistakes, heal the trauma so the soul can evolve. A lot of people have a lot of different perspectives and opinion, but also there's not a lot of wisdom in the industry. And I'm quite impressed by those humans, my own beautiful viewers, wonderful audience, but also some channelers I'm proud to say I'm very, very great close friends with. I appreciate their wisdom. I always appreciate wisdom. I always gravitate towards wisdom. And as I say, there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. There's not a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of knowledge all around, of course, but there's not a lot of benefit to knowledge, there's more benefit to wisdom. Because wisdom deals with fundamental metaphysics truths, with secrets of this reality that we live in here called Earth, but also manipulating energy. And what's one of the biggest tasks in the spiritual life? Learn energy, figure out energy, how to move energy, like water, like a water flow. So I suggest reading philosophy, stoicism, natural sciences, philosophy, and economics, and politics, psychology, celestial wisdom, previous channelings, let's say on the internet from previous authentic channelers. I know a few, I can always recommend them. That's really the key for all of us to move forward. Watching television or nonsense or entertainment videos, it's not going to get us anywhere. Those are just over promises and time wastings, of course. So ultimately finding the galactic wisdom is really the key to this incarnation. I'm firmly stating that, absolutely. Removal of traumas, manipulating a movement of energy, understanding portal energy, but obtaining wisdom, of course, that's my task. That always was my task. It'll always be my task. And always, since I got into this industry and during my own awakening process, I've always had that goal almost. In a way, I said, I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to get into anything else. I just want to obtain wisdom. I desire to obtain wisdom. I desire to seek wisdom. I desire to see authentic advice and understand obtaining galactic wisdom. That was really my thing, aside from replacing my human weaknesses with strength, the removal of resistances and so forth. But being a proud reptilian channeler, being a proud draconian channeler, being a proud business guy or entrepreneur here in Canada, that's just human stuff. But I'm a student. That's all I am. I'm just a student. We're all students, learning galactic, multi-dimensional concepts and learning how to deal with our own emotions here on Earth. We're all students, that's all. None of us are experts, none of us are nothing great. We're all the same, we're just human. We're students, and I'm a student, I'm a proud student, and I'm always going to be a student, that's all. A student seeking wisdom, and a student seeking to understand energy moving, and energy and manipulation of energy, shifting energy, integrating energy, removal of energy, and understanding and experiencing portal energy, and different interstellar subjects that have to do with energy that are not meant for camera. But those are my priorities and perspectives. And it's also important, which I sort of talk about in my channeling course, it's important to understand how we are all connected as human beings, organic human beings, how we're all connected under the same oversoul. So each oversoul has 144,000 souls, so how we're all connected in this oversoul mix, this oversoul umbrella, how we're all under the same creator, whoever this creators are, whoever these intelligent beings are. They're obviously not one, some dude sitting in a chair. No, these are obviously extraterrestrial, dimensional, interdimensional races who created us all. How we're all connected, who are they? I mean, these are really tasks, these are assignments for us to find out. This is the real juice. This is the real juice to configure out life. And I definitely do believe, I'm very confident that KALASK will be able to answer many of these questions for the audience.